In 2008, Bernie Madoff's investment firm defrauded investors of billions of dollars over several decades, making it one of the most notorious Ponzi schemes. A year later, in 2009, Alan Stanford's Ponzi scheme led to his financial empire collapsing when his $7 billion Ponzi scheme was exposed. He offered high returns through certificates of deposit, but the investments were essentially worthless. In 2008, Tom Petters, a Minnesota businessman, operated a Ponzi scheme through his company, Petters Group Worldwide. It collapsed that very year, resulting in losses estimated at around $3.65 billion. We can name several Ponzi schemes that have deprived people of billions of dollars. But have you ever thought why frauds like these are called Ponzi schemes?
Ponzi scheme.
Imagine a world where money grows on trees, or rather schemes, promising riches but delivering nothing but ruin. Step into the realm of Charles Ponzi, a man whose name has become synonymous with financial deception. Welcome to Sleuthing Scams, and today we'll be talking about Charles Ponzi. But before we get down to business, why don't you hit that subscribe button? It will help us a lot in our journey. Charles Ponzi was born on March 3, 1882 in Lugo, Emilia-Romagna. He claimed to hail from a family in Parma. While Ponzi's ancestors had enjoyed wealth, his family had fallen on hard times by the time he was born, with little money to spare. He initially worked as a postal worker, but later gained acceptance into the University of Rome La Sapienza. However, his time at university was marked more by socializing than studying. He followed his rich friends to bars, cafes, and the opera, viewing university life as a prolonged holiday. As a result, he squandered his funds, and after 4 years he found himself penniless and without a degree. During this period, many Italian youths were immigrating to the United States and returning home with newfound wealth. Encouraged by his family's desire to regain their former social and economic standing, Ponzi decided to pursue the same path, seeking fortune across the Atlantic. Charles Ponzi's early life was marked by a restless spirit and a thirst for adventure. After immigrating to the United States in 1903, he bounced from one job to another, seeking his fortune in the bustling streets of Boston. It was during this time that Ponzi first encountered the world of finance, working odd jobs in banks and investment firms. Despite his lack of formal education or training in finance, Ponzi possessed an innate charm and charisma that would serve him well in his later endeavors. Like a moth to a flame, his charisma attracted people only to leave them scorched by the flames of his deceit. But it wasn't until 1919 that Ponzi's name would become synonymous with financial wizardry. It was in that year that he stumbled upon what would become his greatest scheme, the postage stamp speculation scheme. The concept was simple yet ingenious. He promised investors a 50% return on their investment in just 90 days by exploiting the difference in the price of international postal reply coupons. At a time when traditional investments were yielding meager returns, Ponzi's offer seemed too good to be true, and as history would later reveal, it was. Word of Ponzi's incredible returns spread like wildfire, attracting droves of eager investors clamoring to get in on the action. As the money poured in, Ponzi lived a life of luxury, flaunting his newfound wealth with lavish parties and extravagant purchases. But beneath the veneer of prosperity lay a tangled web of deceit and manipulation. He was using new investors' money to pay returns to earlier investors, effectively robbing Peter to pay Paul. Despite warnings from financial experts, Ponzi's scheme continued to thrive, fueled by greed and naivety. At its peak, he was raking in millions of dollars a day, making him one of the richest men in America. But like a house of straw, Ponzi's empire was one huff and puff away from collapse. In August 1920, the inevitable reckoning arrived. Ponzi's grand illusion crumbled into dust. A series of investigative reports exposed the true nature of his scheme, sending shockwaves through the financial world. Investors who had once toasted Ponzi's success now brandished their torches, ready to burn his legacy to the ground. But by then, it was too little too late. Ponzi's assets were seized, and he was arrested on charges of fraud and larceny. The subsequent trial was a media whirlwind, a captivating narrative of greed and deception that swept the nation. Ponzi, ever the showman, conducted himself with an air of defiance, proclaiming his innocence to anyone who would listen. But the evidence against him was overwhelming, and in 1920 he was convicted and sentenced to prison. But even behind bars, Ponzi's story was far from over. After serving just a few years of his sentence, he was released on bail pending appeal. Determined to redeem himself, Ponzi embarked on a new venture, selling swampland in Florida to unsuspecting investors. But once again, his schemes were exposed, and in 1934, he was deported back to Italy. He spent his last days in Brazil, where he passed away at the age of 66. The story of Charles Ponzi is a cautionary tale of the perils of unchecked ambition and the allure of easy money. It serves as a stark reminder that in the pursuit of wealth, honesty and integrity are invaluable assets that cannot be sacrificed at the altar of greed. So let Ponzi's tale echo through the annals of history, reminding us all that in the world of finance, the true currency is trust, and once it's spent, the cost is immeasurable. And on that word of wisdom, it's time for us to call it a day. But we do hope that you liked the video and found it informative. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to click the bell icon. Your valuable suggestions are very important to us, so do post them in the comment section. And I'll see you in the next video.